You may know someone like this. They're full of ideas, dream big, and carry the spark of someone destined for something extraordinary. They talk about exciting projects, live in a world of possibility. But somehow, those dreams rarely take form. There's always a reason. The timing was off, the support wasn't there, or the world just didn't understand them. Maybe it's a friend from childhood, a sibling, a partner, even a parent. Someone who, despite their years, still lives as if time has paused. They may avoid commitments, resist responsibility, and seek freedom over stability. Carl Jung called this psychological pattern the pure eternus, the eternal youth. It's not about age, but a deep-rooted tendency to stay in a kind of emotional and developmental limbo. There's often a radiant charm to these individuals, their spontaneity, their imagination, their liveliness. But beneath that charm can lie a quiet struggle with the real world and its demands. The eternal youth tends to live as though life should adapt to their vision. They may dream of the perfect partner, job, or life, and when reality doesn't meet these ideals, they retreat, disconnect, or begin again elsewhere. Often they aren't avoiding effort out of laziness, but from a deeper fear. Fear of failing, of being ordinary, or of growing up and letting go of the dream. If you've ever supported someone like this, you know how emotionally complex it can be. Advice may be dismissed. Encouragement may be met with hesitation. It can feel like you're reaching out to someone who isn't quite ready to take the next step. But this is not about blaming. It's about understanding. This pattern is a reflection of inner conflict, a longing for freedom that can, paradoxically, become a kind of inner prison. If not faced, it can lead to a life of unfulfilled potential. This video isn't a criticism, it's a mirror. If you've watched this far, something in you may resonate with these words, whether in someone close to you or in yourself. The story of the pure eternus doesn't have to end in stagnation, but transformation only begins with honest self-reflection. Jung saw this archetype not just as a personality trait, but as a universal pattern, a symbolic energy that resists growing out of the comfort of childhood. It's a yearning to remain in the protected world of potential, where nothing has been risked or lost. But staying in that place can mean never fully living. You may have seen this in real life. People who move between jobs, ideas, or relationships, always seeking meaning, yet often retreating when things demand deeper investment. It's rarely about intelligence or talent. In fact, this pattern often appears in people with high sensitivity, vision, and creativity. But creativity without grounding becomes escapism. Dreams without follow-through become burdens. The eternal youth wants to fly but doesn't want to build the wings. And yet, there is beauty in this archetype too. It represents the inner spark that brings new ideas, artistic vision, and the courage to imagine differently. The challenge is not to silence this part of ourselves, but to integrate it, to let the dreamer serve the adult, not the other way around. The danger lies in imbalance. When the inner child dominates, responsibility is avoided. Promises are made but not kept. Freedom is sought at the expense of connection. The result can be a quiet emotional fatigue for both the person themselves and those who care about them. This behavior isn't rooted in malice. It's often driven by unconscious fears of limitation, judgment, or the loss of identity. But avoiding life structure doesn't lead to true freedom. It often leads to greater anxiety, stagnation, or broken connections. Jung said, "We do not become whole by imagining light, but by bringing awareness to the parts of ourselves we hide." The answer is not to reject the youthful dreamer inside, but to guide him. To mature is not to betray who you are. It is to build on that foundation with integrity, purpose, and conscious choice. There is also often a deeper relational dynamic at play. Behind many patterns of immaturity, there can be an unconscious tie to a symbolic caregiver figure, sometimes a literal parent, sometimes a partner who takes on that nurturing role. Jung called this the archetype of the Great Mother, a protective force that, when overly present, can prevent necessary separation and growth. In these cases, relationships may carry unrealistic expectations, hoping a partner will provide unconditional understanding without challenge. But true partnership involves mutual growth, honesty, and accountability. And sometimes, the path forward begins with letting go of dependency, both emotionally and psychologically.